Hey Gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey, and next to me here is the 2022 Hyundai IONIQ5. This is Hyundai's first ever ground up 100% electric vehicle. I am here in the richest acre of Kilgore, Texas, where the 1930s oil boom took place and reshaped the entire East Texas economy. And in this video, I'm going to examine whether or not this EV will help us say adios to our dinosaur juice burning ways of the past. Stay tuned.
This video is sponsored by Electron Portable EV Chargers. Electron supplied us with this 240 volt 32 amp portable charger for us to use with this Hyundai IONIQ5, and it drastically cut down our home charging times. Easily charging 6 times faster than the Hyundai supplied 110 volt home charger that came with the vehicle, this particular charger has a 21-foot heavy-duty cord, NEMA 1450 plug for our house, J1772 for our IONIQ5, or any other mainstream EV on the market today. If you are interested in getting a portable charger for your EV and helping out the channel in the process, click the link down in the description below.
Starting under the hood of the IONIQ5, no, you don't get an engine. This is an electric vehicle, but what you do get is a small plastic storage area for the supplied 110 portable charger. Due to the short front overhang of this vehicle, there wasn't enough room to get like the air conditioner, which you can hear running because my son is in the car, and all the other electrical components in here, and still have room for a decent sized frunk. Hyundai took the approach of style over function up here in the front. And when it comes to style, there is a lot here to talk about, from the saucer-sized Hyundai logo up here up front, the very squared pixelated headlights that remind me of a 3rd and 4th gen Camaro. I really like that. The LED accent lighting all across this silver panel that comes on when the headlights are on. Your LED charge indicator right here that lights up with different pixels as you get more and more charge in your vehicle. And then these very functional air ducts that do have flaps that will close at higher speeds for better efficiency. I can't say fuel economy because it is efficiency. This digital teal color looks blue in some lights, green in some others, gray in others. It's a very interesting metallic paint job that I like a whole lot. All told, the styling on this is an A+ for me. Style here on the side of the IONIQ5 is more of the same. Very angular, flat planes. You get a very interesting kind of saw blade pattern around the wheel wells that translates to the 20-inch wheels as well, that really hide the fact that they are eco-friendly and very flat. Door handles automatically pop up as you get close to the vehicle, and the vehicle unlocks thanks to Hyundai's proximity key, and allow for better aerodynamics as you go down the road because they retract flat into the side of the vehicle when you're done. Power folding mirrors do retract into place when the vehicle is locked and have very pixelated LED turn signals in them as well. Very cute, tight proportions in what is a very big hatchback crossover here, and you do have a power operated rear charge panel here that allows you to charge the vehicle either with that supplied cable that came with it or to plug into a DC fast charger. DC fast charging this vehicle is faster than any other thanks to its 800 volt architecture that will allow you to charge from 10 to 80% in a whopping short 18 minutes, which is like half the time of perhaps its biggest rival in the Ford Mustang Mach-E, which we did road test. I did take to Amarillo and back in a 1,200 mile round trip road test that I really wanted to do with this one, but unfortunately time and weather were not on my side. But you can absolutely go check that video out in our EV playlist. I really appreciate the styling and proportions of this vehicle. It really does look like nothing else on the road. Styling back here at the back continues the very angular and pixelated theme from up front, whether it's the squared pixel taillights back here in the back or the very sharp angles all the way around. Your rear spoiler back here does allow for some aero to get underneath it and really air wrap all the way around this vehicle. I will note, I drove this through some very inclement weather. No rear wiper on this vehicle. With this angle on the rear window, almost made this back window unusable for me on that trip. Pixelated lights all the way across, repetition of that silver theme with the bar here in the middle. No, that does not light up to show charge indicators, and a power lift gate back here in the back with plenty of storage room, underfloor storage, and a rear cargo sunshade. This does have Kia's, Hyundai and Kia's smart key access system that if I did not have the vehicle running right now, if I locked it, walked away, and came back to it and stood back here with the key in my pocket, it would beep a few times at me and that rear hatch would open. Just another nifty, unique feature so you're not kicking under there with your hands full trying to get that hatch open. All told, I really love the exterior styling of this all the way around, but let's head inside and I'll show you some of my favorite features there as well. All right, stepping inside the IONIQ 5, I want to call some attention to some really fun little interesting design elements here inside. First is the door pull. It is practically the entire length of the door in this armrest here that allows you to pull it shut. There's some interesting kind of stonework look here, as well as more of these pixels. A nice padded section up top, and switchgear that really looks like it came out of Hyundai's premium brand of Genesis. Speaking of unique design touches, we have this little magnetic panel here that allows you to put the succulents that come with the vehicle here, or maybe a notepad, or even one of my GT Garage Talk magnets, which will stay right there, magnetized just like that. Right next to it, you get two 12.3-inch color screens, one for your gauge cluster and one for your infotainment. And if I can get the camera to focus on it, you even get another screen in your heads-up display that gives you a lot of pertinent information while you're driving down the road. We'll get more into that on the driving portion. A very unique and interesting gauge cluster here, very different from any other Hyundai product with the digital dash, in that this bar right here gets more and more color as you go faster. It fills up this way as you go faster, and depending on what drive mode you are in determines the color. This side over here, as you use power, is kind of like your tachometer. It will fill up as you lay the hammer down, or if you are doing regenerative braking, it will fill up headed that way. In the middle here, you do have a configurable section that right now shows all the driver aids and whether or not it sees vehicles around you, but it can also give you your tire pressure, the power distribution, and your trip computer. You can see down here, we're at 82%. On level 3 of the regenerative braking. We'll talk more about that while driving. 92 degrees outside, so it is quite warm. getting 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour right there. And at 82% with the air going, we have 87 miles of range left. We'll get more into that as we drive. Steering wheel controls have all your voice controls and phone controls here on the left, and all your driver assistance stuff here on the right. Lane keep, lane centering, adaptive cruise. This is how you can go through all your different screens here that tell you various different informational bits, and your follow distance here as well. Drive mode button right here goes from eco to normal, which follows along with the blue theme but changes it up just a little bit. And then sport mode turns everything red and even more pixelated. It's really kind of hard to see in this lighting, but sport mode's really fun. Eco mode will actually use the front motor as little as possible, whereas sport mode will really help you put the power down no matter what. Here in the center screen, you get your home screen shows you your battery life and your estimated range, as well as outside temperature, but it is very quick and snappy. If you've used any Hyundai, Kia, Genesis products lately, you will be very familiar with this screen. There is an EV button here that shows you your range with the AC on, with the AC off. Obviously, I'm willing to sacrifice those miles for the added comfort of air conditioning. And this one actually has ventilated seats. And you can see the next public charging station is 14 miles away, but it's actually back behind me. Very nice here, and then that is all above your climate controls, which I will say, to get to those ventilated seats, you have to hit climate, front warmer, and then you can actually adjust it from here. That ventilation does not stay on if you turn the vehicle off and back on. Would prefer that to be a remembered function, especially since you had to hunt for it on the menu there. Otherwise, pretty easy to use. Dual zone climate, your start stop button here, and then you get this stalk right here as your gear selector with the park button on the end of it. It's not my favorite, but is almost necessary because this right here is a movable center console. So it is not actually attached to the dash. So you can see there is actually carpet space here. That is where you plug your USB-A in to access the wired only Apple CarPlay, but there is additional storage down here as well as additional power. Very nice, unique storage. Down here on the center console, you get 2 more USB-A ports and your Qi wireless charger. And then a very large storage area there. You can see my son's tablet, and you've got an armrest that does lift up and open up for additional storage there. Very nice. And we'll talk about the seats while we're right here. So very comfortable leatherette seats, more of that pixelated pattern here, and coming down on the back of the ventilation. Speaking of my son, can you say hi, Tucker?
Hi, but can I play on my iPad?
Yes, you can play on your tablet for sure. There you go, buddy. You've been very good today while I've been filming.
First I need to fix this guy.
If you want to see more from Tucker on his thoughts on this vehicle, my wife and Tucker and I take this vehicle out for a full family review coming up. I did want to show how large and surprising this glove box is. It goes very deep back there and does have this section here for additional storage in the door. All told, very roomy front seat here. And I didn't even mention the fact that it has 2-person memory settings. So very nice, very comfortable front seat. But now I'm going to head back and sit with Tucker in the back seat. If you want to see a trick feature of this front seat that I haven't even mentioned, you will have to watch that family review because I surprised my wife with that hidden feature. The rear seat has the same door panels here with a very large pool. You do have more of the upgraded switchgear that looks like it came out of a Genesis, a B-pillar mounted air conditioning vent, and my favorite feature, especially in a family car, is manual sunshades back here to keep things cool. I have got so much legroom back here, but I will show you even more of what this rear legroom is like in our family review. And back here on the back of the movable center console, you do have 2 USB-A ports and a little storage cubby for toys, knickknacks, whatever the case may be. This vehicle works very well for our family. And again, if you want to see more from my family, be sure and subscribe to see that family review when it drops later this week. Setting off in the 2022 Hyundai IONIQ World EV of the Year, and it's quite an impressive car, actually. I've had it for a few days now, driven it back from the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex here to East Texas, home base. I've really been impressed with the range and the driving comfort of this vehicle. It has several different ways you can configure how it drives. And for me right now, I am in Eco because I'm driving around town, and I am in full I-pedal regenerative braking mode, which allows you to really just drive with the throttle, modulating how fast you're going with that one pedal. All right, Mercury, let's get over. And with that, it is very easy to find that groove to where, just like the Power Wheels most of us had as kids, I didn't, but my son does. You just need the one pedal for 90% of what you do. I was showing my parents this vehicle and telling them about that feature, and my dad's like, what about emergency braking? Well, you still have a brake pedal, and you can still drive it just like a normal vehicle. In fact, these paddles here on the back of the steering wheel are not for rowing through gears like on most internal combustion cars. These actually adjust how strong that regenerative braking is. And there are 4 modes. There's iPedal, which is full regenerative, 3, 2, 1, and off. So you can, if you have this all the way off, drive it exactly like a gasoline vehicle. It does the creep, it coasts, it does everything you would expect from a vehicle you've been driving since you were 16. Very, very comfortable, easy to learn and to drive. And you can see it's a beautiful rainy day here in East Texas. This does have some nice comfort and convenience features, such as the automatic wipers up front that sense the rain on the front and go ahead and engage for you there. Because this is an EV, we'll talk briefly about the charging structure. Here in East Texas, we don't have any fast chargers because it just hasn't made its way here. Most DC fast chargers are along major interstate routes for people making big trips, because 9 times out of 10, you don't want to DC fast charge one of these vehicles. You want to plug it in at night and slow charge it overnight. So for this, we have not tested out its full capability, but this vehicle, with its 256 miles of estimated range, defeats range anxiety in a slightly different way. Because of the 800 volt system of this electric vehicle, it can actually charge from 10% to 80% in 18 minutes. That's insane. 18 minutes. And because of that, you're barely going to be sitting anywhere charging for any length of time on a long road trip. It is a very good alternative to adding more and more range to the vehicle, Because again, I mentioned I picked this up at the DFW Metroplex. I got back with plenty of range to spare. I was running errands around town and still enjoying the battery life with no real anxiety whatsoever. This can also charge at home, plugged into 110 or 220, but it's nowhere near as quick. On 110 at my home, using the charging cable that was supplied with this vehicle, it charges at 1.3, 1.4 kilowatts per hour. It's slow. There's a reason why it's been dubbed trickle charging. Plugged into 220, you get about 4 or 5 times that, and would charge a whole lot quicker and would charge from empty overnight without much problem whatsoever. Here currently I'm at 70% battery life with 153 miles of range in eco mode. If I push this drive mode here on the steering wheel and go to sport, I drop down to 148, but I can also do this. Oh my goodness. I'm wondering when that will get old, but the fun thing about electric vehicles is their instant torque. This vehicle, with its H-Track all-wheel drive and 2-motor setup, boasts a 320 horsepower and 446 pound-feet of instantaneous torque that make for incredibly fun driving around town and even better highway driving, because driving this back from Dallas, passing slow traffic, it was instantaneous, and you can just get out and get around. No waiting for gears, no waiting for downshifting, no waiting for the power band to hit the right sweet spot. None of that. Instantaneous foot down torque. I will note, having driven a Tesla and a Ford Mustang Mach-E, this seems, I don't want to use the word anemic, because that is not it whatsoever. This has very good, just over 4.5 second 0 to 60 acceleration, but it's not quite as crazy and as much of a gut punch as the Tesla Model Y was that we tested, and it feels like it tapers off the higher end speed you get, which, I mean, how often should you be driving in triple digits? I will note that highways here in Texas do have higher speed limits than most. I have done 85 right next to law enforcement and been doing the speed limit. So just throwing that out there. This vehicle definitely is no slouch when you put your foot down. And even here on a rainy day like today, those Michelin Primacy tires aren't really scraping and scratching, trying to regain traction, because just the way this puts down power is so linear, so smooth and predictable, but it'll get up and go in a hurry. I am really liking how with one pedal drive, I don't have to sit here with my foot on the brake, much like many auto hold functions of modern internal combustion vehicles. But I can just sit here normally and wait for the light to turn. And when it does, we will leave all of these other cars in our dust because of the all-wheel drive and those 446 pound-feet of torque instantaneously available to me. Let's go. Oh my gosh. Woo! This thing scoots. So I will also note, I did not brake torque this during that acceleration run. I put my foot down and there was a bit of a delay. Again, not quite the same experience from the Tesla or even that Ford Mustang Mach-E. Just a little bit different, something to know about. There's just a little bit of hesitation. I can do a brake torque on this one and see, nope, still hesitates, but when it goes, it goes. Oh my gosh. Woo! Back to charging, I did want to call one more thing. We were talking about charging up. This does have an EV screen that shows you what your current battery life is at. With the air conditioning on, what you would expect your range to be if you had turned it off. So I'm adding a little bit of range, turning the AC off, and where the next public charger is. For us, it is here at a local junior college at their automotive technical facility, and is just 2.7 miles back behind me. So I will note, very nice, handy screen there. Okay, ride, drive, handling, what does this feel like? Really nice. So I've noted many times, including when we sampled this at Texas Motor Speedway, the wheelbase on this is 4 inches longer than Hyundai's 3-row Palisade SUV. And with that long wheelbase, with the low center of gravity because of the batteries, and that higher weight rating for a car this size, you get a really planted ride. Rough pavement doesn't really shake or bother or disturb this vehicle too much. And again, it just feels stuck to the road. The skateboard platform of this does provide for a very heavy, very low center of gravity. And that long wheelbase just kind of smooths everything out, which gives this a ride much better than, I would say interior space in here is mid-size sedan. So think your Chevy Malibus, your Toyota Camrys, your Hyundai Sonatas, Kia K5s. This has a much smoother, much flatter, more planted ride than any of those. As far as spirited driving, this holds its own. You are hauling around a lot of extra weight with those batteries, and the Kia EV6 is definitely more sport-minded in its approach to things. This vehicle really, really, really excels at being a nice, comfortable, luxurious place to be, of which it does that quite well. It did win World EV of the Year, and that's because it feels very much like a normal car. Sure, there's some annoying stuff with the technology and things buried in the screen, like the ventilated seats. There's no dedicated button for that. But putting all that aside, just getting in it and driving it, it feels like a normal car. Stuff's easy to access. It works very well. One pedal driving can be turned off very easily with these paddles, and it's almost like you're releasing a rubber band as you push these paddles to engage or disengage that regenerative braking, because it does feel kind of like I'm holding it back now, but that's just because it is using that regenerative braking to help put power back in the batteries. The back seat is unbelievably comfortable. It is a 60-40 split all the way down to the cushion, so you can pull either side forward, back, whatever you need to do. And it does also recline, which gives you a wonderful view of this skylight up above me. It is fixed in place, it doesn't open, but the split closing sunshade does a really good job of closing very quickly. The rear sunshades back in the back also help keep it nice and dark and keep rear passengers from being baked in the sun. The seats are very comfortable and supportive, not like a Recaro racing bucket by any means, but are holding me in very well. Very nice bolsters. They are a synthetic leather. I believe Hyundai refers to it as a leatherette. Everybody's wanting to avoid that vinyl terminology, but they are nice, they are cool, they are heated, ventilated, very comfortable. Rear seat passengers on the two outboard seats get seat heat, but no ventilation back there. You can fit 3. It's a little snug, but this would be a very comfortable cross-country cruiser. But why don't we cut to some interstate driving footage, because there is some unique stuff here with the heads-up display that I can really only show you on the interstate with Hyundai's Highway Drive Assist engaged. As you can see here, we are coming up on the interstate, and already that heads-up display is showing you some interesting stuff. So I did not put my blinker on to get over here in the turning lane, and my apologies for that. I did check behind me. There was nobody back there, but I don't know if you caught those yellow arrows that were directing me back into my lane. Just a little bit of the augmented reality baked in to the heads-up display on this vehicle. It's very impressive, some of the technology that they were able to put into this that I will show you further when we get out on the road. So as we set off here, first thing I will call to attention is the posted speed limit sign, my speed, the lane keeping system, and my cruise control function. You can also see those red waves showing me there is a person in my blind spot. We saw that on the Mazda CX-9 and really appreciated it. The driver assistance tech in this is really on point, because you also get that camera mounted mirror whenever you put your blinker on that also shows your blind spot very well. Heading off onto the interstate here, we will get going at highway speeds and engage the adaptive cruise control, and you can see that HDA on the screen, which stands for Highway Drive Assist. And let's set this to the posted speed limit, and you can see the speed limit sign is flashing because it just changed, and all is green, all is good to go. So you can see I've got it set to 3 links on the adaptive cruise control spacing. But look right underneath that Ram truck in front of me. It actually underlines the vehicle to let me know that the car knows that there is a vehicle up there. I also get a readout here on the driver information screen, the gauge cluster, showing me that it sees the cars around me and just alerting me to that. If I get a little bit closer, you can see that underline gets bigger and bigger and hangs out underneath that Ram truck. If I get back out here on the road, you can see that Honda Accord is getting further and further away, so that underline is getting smaller and smaller, but it is still showing me that it knows that that car is up there. Pretty impressive technology that was a little weird for me hopping in this and almost immediately hopping on the interstate to head back to Tyler, Texas. Just a very unique way to demonstrate what the car sees around it. I will put my blinker on here, and you can see it's directing me into the other lane. And then when it realizes I'm back in my lane, it puts those forward arrows. I'm going to get back over because we've got traffic on the side of the road here. But all told, a very unique and interesting system here in the Hyundai IONIQ5 World EV of the Year. Well, Gearheads, that about does it for my time here with the Hyundai IONIQ5 all by myself. Coming to you here from the richest acre, I can say that this electric vehicle definitely helps me make it the switch over to electrons from the good old Dino Juice. But I want to know what you think. Has Hyundai done enough with this vehicle to sway you to join the electric vehicle crowd? Or are you going to stick with your good old-fashioned internal combustion for a while? If you want to see more from my family on this video, I know I've mentioned it once or twice already, be sure and subscribe for that video when it comes out later this week. Ring that bell so you get notified when it drops. You can find some more behind the scenes stuff from us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the good things, all at GT Garage Talk, or find our website at gtgaragetalk.com. Until next time, gearheads, bye. In an era where everybody telling us electrification is the future, is this 2022 Hyundai IONIQ the future of motoring? And will it help us say goodbye to the oil-burning ways of the past? And I'm gonna test out this electric vehicle to say I screwed all of that up. Back continues that angular and pixelated design theme. I'm gonna restart. Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey.